cutter. So actually the laser cutter in our space became their tool for production for a while. So at night, around the clock, we were actually using the laser cutter during the day for just prototypes and fun stuff or whatever, and then at night they were running production on it until it got to the point where they needed to move out and do their own thing. So it's kind of interesting. I don't think there's ever really a great answer as to what should come first: the space, the people, the tools. I think it really depends, and I think you just kind of got to shoot for each one and see what works for you.
Yeah, and that leads into what I really want. We're kind of running out of time, so I want to move things along. But how do you start space? There's no simple answer. One resource I want to let you all aware of is, let me go to the end here. This is a presentation I gave. Sorry about that. The presentation I gave at a Maker Faire in UK, so it's not really set up for everything. But there's Hackerspacesorg is an international organization that exists to promote hackerspaces and to help hackerspaces that exist. Hackerspaces are all unique, but we all help one another. Even if we don't agree with the way the space is run is not the way I want to run my space, it doesn't really matter. We still help one another. It's an international community, and Hackerspacesorg is a sort of clearinghouse website of where to get information. One thing that's there that's an incredible document is the Hackerspace design patterns, which was created by some Germans who did a lot of research at the hackerspaces in Germany of what has worked and what has not in a quarter century of hackerspaces there. Not to say what to do and what not to do, but what has worked and not worked for them. And that's actually one of the things they talk about is, how do you start? Do you start with a space? Do you start with projects? Do you start with a group of people? And there's no right answer for that, but having combinations of those and what circumstances lead you to propelling your project, your hackerspace forward. So for Noisebridge, we started with me and my friend Jake, and we put the word out, and in all the email lists we knew about, we picked a name, we got a domain name, we got a website, we started an email list, and before we knew it, there were 100 people on the email list. You just say the word community and people flock to it, and if you put that, we're going to make things, we're going to hack the planet along with it, it's pretty magical, the people who flock to it. So I want to leave some time open for questions, but why don't I open it for, if you can say anything you'd like to say about how you started your space, if you think there's something cool about that, and also any kind of obstacles you had to overcome that are interesting to talk about. Try to keep it brief so we can leave time for quick Q&A. Anyone?
Read the documents on that.
The design patterns is completely priceless. The design patterns is and a lot of the stuff in there is tongue-in-cheek, but they're like, look, if you want to try to do something, just do that. Go do it. We found a space pretty quick. We were still talking a lot of coffee shops. Let's get a space. We found something on Craigslist that we really liked. We were like, oh, that would be really good. We didn't totally have our act together. We didn't have a corporation. We didn't know we had enough money. But once we found it, we were like, we want that, and that made us get our act together and get it. So, just saying to yourselves, no, we really are going to do this. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to go out there because once you find, you'll be surprised. You'll find something, and then you can't do it if you try to do it.
We lucked out that we had a space instantly. One of the other founders knew a guy, had the space. The landlord wanted us there, loved the concept, and was really willing to work with us. So it really helped that we hit the ground running with actually having a workshop. But one of the things they talk in here is about a 2x2 design concept of find two people who are really committed, find two other people that are willing to help, and keep branching that out. But it really, to start a hackerspace, what you need is one or two people that are committed. And when I mean committed, I mean committed. You are going to spend a lot of time and a lot of work to do it, but it is totally worth it. You need to keep that in mind when the times are like, oh, I'm going to kill everyone. But you know, you keep working through it. You just do the stuff and get it done, and it's amazing. But find the people that you trust and that you can work with, and are committed as much as you are. Do it.
So starting the space was really easy for us because I'm very friendly and people recognize this and they open doors. But that's just a really unique case. I happened across this company. I was like, hey, you guys are doing like this gaming stuff. I've got this idea. If we could just kind of find a way to work together. And we were able to kind of have a symbiotic relationship with this gaming center in Ann Arbor. And we're still there right now. It's not the best space, but it's a space. And it happened to be very cheap for us. But I want to caution against it because having like close to free space made it really hard for us to start being able to ask for money because money is essential. It's something that I don't like thinking about, but it is absolutely essential to keep things going and keep things moving forward. And yeah, that's my suggestion, and then my caution. My suggestion is to use all your resources. Like, ask your friends if there are any spaces available. See if you can sort of find a relationship with another organization that already exists. And the second thing is make sure that people understand that this is valuable. Those are the two things.
I was thinking too, if you think a few things. First of all, I feel like small is big. So I think it's starting small and making it an organic thing so you don't overwhelm the people that are starting it. It is a fair amount of work, but I think if you can think of how to make it how to be most effective with the least amount of work possible, I think relieves a lot of stress on folks because a lot of us have full-time jobs in addition to doing this and families and that sort of thing. So it is a challenge. Also, if you're one of the facilitators of the space, I think to try and make it very democratic, like sometimes because I was one of the people who helped start on the Corporate Detroit, people will ask me, oh, well, is it okay if I do this? I'm like, well, ask the group. Don't ask just me. And I think the more that you do that, the more that you make it a group thing, the more that you get everybody's ownership in. And then to speak a little bit more about the money issue, I think it is good to have the balance between dues where people feel like there is a sacrifice being made, but also to make sure that it's not just a transaction and a relationship type thing. So just paying dues in a hackerspace is really not enough. You really need people to get involved and to take on responsibilities and to share them, because that way you're getting both sides of it. You do need money to work, but also you need the relationships and people giving a little bit in order to make things happen.
We split our membership between dues and volunteer time. Dues and does. Dues and volunteer time, because the community has to help out and has to chip in. The garbage has to be taken out, the shop needs cleaned up, things like that. So you really do need to get people involved and make sure that they know that's also their responsibility to keep the shop up and running. And that I think that also helps in making them realize that it is their shop, not someone else's shop.
It's all of ours.
Yeah.
And what I find with the money and with the responsibilities at Noisebridge, people want to do it. This is an incredible resource available to each of us in our lives, and we want to keep it going. Noisebridge, I want to talk about organization. Let me start by saying how Noisebridge is. Noisebridge is on the extreme of radically open. So any space is going to take on the culture that the people who started created with and grow from there. So Noisebridge being started by me and Jake, it's a total anarchist, hippie, freak, punk kind of a place. And I love it. And so do all the people who come and stay. So we have about 100 members now. We're a nonprofit. You don't have to be a member to be there. You don't have to be a member to take classes, to give classes, to do anything there. You don't have to pay any money to do anything there. We're a 501c3, meaning nonprofit. That can be tax-exempt donations. We get a lot of those, but we're mainly supported by our members who pay dues. You don't have to be a member, like I said, but people want to be members because they want to support Noisebridge. So we have $80 full price membership. San Francisco has a different scale of economy than much of the rest of the country, so there are a lot of people who can pay $80 a month.